I just got back from New York, the city that sells meaning by the square foot and still makes you feel like a background character. My suitcase smells like coffee and fatigue, which I guess is an improvement from the last time. So on the flight home, I kept thinking about Vivi from Final Fantasy IX, the small black mage who knew his life was fragile, fleeting, maybe even borrowed because he had other black mages that just stops very prematurely. And yet he kept showing up. He fought, he laughed and wondered, and kept moving forward. Not because he thought that he'd last forever, but because he wanted to live sincerely while he could. That kind of bravery feels kind of rare these days. There's something profound about choosing to burn, even briefly, instead of never lighting up at all. Which brings me here to something else that decided not to stay gone. A comeback from a brand that vanished quietly, re-emerging years later without much fanfare, almost sheepishly. It feels poetic, a product that, like Vivi, is painfully aware of its fragility, yet chooses to show up again. The Cozoy D1. The unboxing didn't try to make a spectacle of itself. A simple black box, a restrained logo, and a frequency graph on the back that looked more like a mood swing rather than a technical chart. Inside, a thin sheet of tracing paper covered two resin shells glimmering in soft blue. Delicate, reflective, like they were halfway between glass and memory. The cable is an uncompromising shade of purple, confident, eccentric, and quite absurd. The kind of purple that doesn't apologize for existing. The accessories are modest but deliberate. A set of single flange ear tips, very rare these days, a set of double flange ear tips, and one pair of foam tips that will probably outlive neither you nor the cable. Each one feels like a small act of care. Proof that somebody somewhere still believes in details. The manual is a masterpiece of unintentional poetry, full of lines about souls, heartbeats, rebirth, the kind of writing that hovers between marketing copy and spiritual awakening. I couldn't decide either to roll my eyes or to applaud the earnestness. But once the laughter softened, I started listening, and this is where things got interesting. The sound comes from a V-shaped identity, enjoyable, confident, and surprisingly cohesive. It's a kind of tuning that immediately makes sense, expressive but grounded, engaging without being exhaustive. The bass hits first. Dynamic and full-bodied, it doesn't overwhelm, but it knows when to make an entrance. There's a solid sub-bass rumble that fills the lower range with resonance gradually tapering off just before it becomes overindulgent. Mid-bass is gently lifted, adding warmth and substance to the overall sound. Transients are clean but not razor-sharp. More rolling waves than punch, which actually works in the long run. Texture is surprisingly mature for this range. It's not smeared nor overly soft, it's just comfortably present, like the hum of an old refrigerator that you somehow learned to love. Moving into the mid-range, things open up. They are clear and relatively uncolored, sitting right where they should. Not buried, not pushed too far forward. Vocals feel organic and lightly textured, with just enough nuance to anchor them emotionally. There's even a dash of micro detail peeking through, subtle but satisfying, like catching a whisper in a crowded room. Instruments kind of blend in a little. Yes, imaging isn't surgical, but it remains musical rather than messy. Everything carries a touch of warmth that makes the mid sound almost personable, approachable, and maybe sort of kinda human. Treble is tuned for safety, which is both a limitation and a relief. It avoids any harsh peaks. Cymbals shimmer rather than splash, and higher notes retain a nice edge without ever biting back. There's a modest sprinkle of sparkle, just enough to keep things lively, though it doesn't quite reach that airy openness that some people chase. Still, for its place in the world, it's remarkably polite. The kind of treble that understands how to hold a conversation without raising its voice. Soundstage sits on the intimate side, more small, warm venue than cathedral reverb. It doesn't feel boxed in. It is gently enclosed, like sitting in a musical lounge where you can see the reflection of your drink in the piano lacquer. Width is moderate and depth is there, but more implied than explicit. Separation behaves like a seating at the dinner table where everybody has their spot, but the elbows occasionally bump into each other. Still, the sense of cohesion makes it easy to get lost in the mix without feeling lost by it. Overall, the presentation feels lived in. It's not the sound of endless precision, it's the sound of comfort, of music played because it's a habit, not a performance. When held up to some of the other competing products here, such as the SimGod EW200, the difference feels immediate. The EW200 is lively, brighter, more forward, vocals leap, details snap into focus, the whole presentation feels caffeine charged. It's the sonic equivalent of walking into daylight after a long night. Exhilarating, but maybe too sharp if you are still half asleep. The D1, by contrast, leans back. It's smoother, more thoughtful, less insistent. Its warmth and laid-back nature gives it endurance, the kind of presentation that never oversteps its welcome. If the EW200 is the extrovert telling jokes over a crowd, the D1 is the friend who listens, nods, and quietly keeps the conversation going. And that brings me back to Vivi. He knew his end would come, maybe sooner than anyone else's, but what made him beautiful was that he acted anyway. He didn't just fade quietly, he tried to matter even if it's just for a brief moment. That's what this little comeback feels like. Something small, humble, aware of its impermanence, but still trying to sound beautiful for as long as it can. So I'm giving this a strong B. Not out of charity, but respect for showing up, for being brave enough to burn again, even knowing it might go out. Anyways, that's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching or listening or just sharing the moment. I'll see you guys next time. I'm still jet lagged, still tired. If I met you in New York, it was great meeting you. So I'll see you guys soon. Bye.